Hey guys, it's Tammy. Welcome to my channel. I am doing my June perfume recap today, filling you in on everything I wore in June for perfumes, what were the standouts, what was my favorite, which were just okay. Actually, it was a great month of perfume. I don't think there was anything that I didn't enjoy wearing, but there are a couple of funny stories from this month, so stay tuned. Okay, so I'm going to start out with some of my favorites for the month. Number one is Scarlet Maximalist. I've spoken about this quite a few times on my channel. It is to me, a fruity vanilla scent with a lot of pine freshness to it. The bottle sort of gives you the vibe of the perfume with that evergreen color. It does give me like a piney, fresh scent, but yeah, it's so sweet. This is a huge compliment getter. I wore this twice. The thing with this is once I start wearing it, I almost get not addicted, but like I just keep wanting to reach for it over and over again. So I stopped it twice. I wore this twice, but I enjoyed it so much each time. Let's see how my dent is getting. I still have quite a bit left. I thought about getting a backup bottle of this, but I'm going to wait until it gets down a little bit further. It's still available, at least on Scentbird. I haven't checked the Scarlet website, but this is an amazing scent. Loved wearing this in June. Our weather here in June was mostly cool, not as rainy as May, not nearly as rainy. June actually had some of the best weather that I ever remember where I could actually sit out. Lovely breeze, warm sun, but not hot, not humid. But we did end up getting a couple of super hot days. It was 90 in the shade, over 100 in the sun, plus humidex. It was crazy, and that was only for a couple days. And today it's rainy, overcast. Yesterday it rained all day. So the weather's sort of been all over the place, but there were a ton of just gorgeous, perfect days in June. So next I'm going to jump right into my most worn perfume of the entire month. And once I got started with this one, I didn't want to stop. I wore it again and again. I think I lost track of how many times I wore it. Started out with a Scentbird decant, and I ended up by, a week later after wearing this, I ended up with a full bottle. This is Dream by the maker. It's sort of a nutty, deep vanilla, very cozy and warm and rich and sort of nutty, and it's sort of lactonic to me. Every time I wore this, my husband was just showering me with compliments, just over the moon. Like as soon as I would spray it, anywhere in the house, he would smell it across the house. And he'd be like, "Did you spray that again? That smells so good." So it was a huge hit, and I really enjoyed wearing it. And I love this style of fragrance. It's very similar to Mind Game's Sissa. It's very similar to, Commodity Milk Bold. I know I talk about those ones a lot. Now, I know the prices are different here in Canada to what they are in the States. So in the States, you could probably get this for a very reasonable price. But here, I think it's ordinarily 236 Canadian for this 50 ml, which is quite a bit. I happened to get it on sale for 188. Plus, I think I used some of my points to get even more off. Like I ended up getting it for a pretty good price. And when I checked back on Sephora, now it's back up to 236. But I got it for 188, and I was very, very happy with that. I actually did layer Dream with Lost in a Dream one day that I went to the mainland, and they are quite similar, but it was a lovely combo. I used this more on my clothes and this on my skin, so it was a very nice combination. I reached for Bonbon Pop by the House of Oud quite a bit. I had it down on my living room coffee table, and so every time I would walk by, I would spray it on myself. Finally, I did move it into the closet on my perfume shelves, and I still kept reaching for it a couple of times, but I was starting to feel like I was going through this very, very quickly because I just had it in the living room, and I just kept reaching for it again and again. But it's basically a peach, a very sweet, pretty peach with a little hint of patchouli and an outdoorsy feeling, and it's gorgeous. I love this one. I also had a wonderful day when I wore Juliette Has a Gun Vanilla Vibes, and I have a new bottle of this. You may remember that I ran out of my travel size when I went on my cruise. I used up my entire travel size, and so now I finally have a full bottle. And the amazing day I had wearing this, and the wearing cap's a little tight. Oh, it is the most perfect salty vanilla. Just think salty beach skin and just vanilla ice cream just dripped on your salty skin. You licked it off. Like it's so good. I love this. This was an amazing wearing experience, and it just made me so happy to finally have a full bottle of this. This was kind of a funny story. One day, for some reason, I was in the mood to wear Tom Ford Rose Prick, and so I sprayed it. My husband said, "What did you spray in here?" He can't stand the smell. But actually, I think on skin, he doesn't mind it. But when I sprayed it in the air, he walked by and he's like, what the heck did you spray? I couldn't help but laugh. But this is just a gorgeous, powdery rose scent, like a classic rose, but a powdered version and just a hint of sweetness, but like a very classic smelling powdery rose. I love this scent. One day I wore Jennifer Aniston Near Dusk, and this is an old one, probably discontinued, but I'm just letting you know that I wore it because I really enjoyed it. I got this bottle from my friend Paula, and you guys, it reminds me sort of Replica Beach Walk, like it's that style. Oh, it's pretty. It's a very pretty, beachy, salty, floral. Like it's quite floral, but it's a really pretty one. Now, I won't talk too much about this because it's discontinued, but I wanted to let you know that I wore it and I really, really enjoyed it the day I wore it. It is not long lasting at all, but that's okay because I wouldn't mind either spraying it again or just if I wanted to wear a scent for just say the morning, I would spray this and then I could spray a different scent by the afternoon if I was in the mood for something different. I also have been trying to decide whether I want a bottle of Sunfruit by Ellis Brooklyn. So I did wear my sample, but I also layered it with the oil, the body oil. And I've had this for a while and I haven't used much of it. And I think one of the reasons is it's very thick on your skin and it doesn't absorb in for a good long while. So if you really like a moisturized feeling, this is great. I guess I have used a little bit of it. And while I was wearing it, like it's so pretty. I love it. It's just, it's fruity, but it's also like a little bit of a creamy sandalwood vibe with it. But it's like a bright, fruity, not citrusy, but sort of a little bit in the citrusy direction. And while I was wearing it, I was sort of trying to assess, do I like this as much as or better than Leda 22 Oris? Do I like it as much as Fleur Father Figure? Because those two remind me greatly of this one. And I'm not sure. I feel like I won't go for the full bottle right now. I don't think I loved it as much as I thought I was going to, although it is a gorgeous, beautiful, bright, summery scent. I love it, but I don't know if I enjoyed wearing it. Does that make sense? It wasn't my favorite wearing experience of the month by any means. And one day I wore Sissa. I just have the 9ml decant from Scent Split. And I was wearing the Maker Dream quite a few days in a row. So that's why I thought I would wear this just to see how the experience compared. And I like this every bit as much. Of course, this is much more expensive, but this is also a nutty vanilla, like a beautiful nutty cozy vanilla. Love this one. Oh, I did wear Versace Crystal Noir, the EDT. I went to a graduation party and I wore this. I just wanted to feel like me and I just wanted to feel like just this makes me feel great. It really makes me feel great. And I also wore Michael Kors Wonderlust Eau Fresh. I like to wear this to bed once in a while. This one is a very powdery, warm scent, but it has a little bit of a brightness, like a citrus brightness to it. And even though I don't wear it very often, I never seem to want to let it go. When I'm thinking about like, what could I declutter? I'm always like, no, I really want to hang on to this one. It's really unique. It's very different. And I enjoy wearing this to bed. I also wore another one of my new purchases, and this is Creed Eladaria. I found an amazing deal on this on Venba. I heard about Venba from my friend Chris at the Perfume Nest, and so I knew it was a legit site, and the more I've looked into it, the more I see they're a really legit site. And I got, oh, I should show you. I'll show you in another video, but I got samples from them, and they put it in the nicest big box and with little foam inserts for each sample. Maybe I'll insert a picture for you. I was really impressed, and they had fast shipping. Now, the shipping was a little bit crazy high for me here in Canada, but it was such a good deal on Elidaria that even with the high shipping, this still cost less than on any other site I could find, on any other one that I could find, and I checked everywhere. I really enjoyed wearing this. My husband said I smell like potpourri or a room freshener. I love it. To me, it is like arrowroot cookies and roses. It's like holding a big bunch of roses under your nose while you're walking through the factory as they're baking arrowroot cookies. That's what it smells like to me. I wore this over to Mom and Dad's, and my dad was like, he does this because he was a fisheries inspector and ended up moving into food inspection, and he inspected food for the government. And he was taught to bring smells to himself like this. So every time I come in to their house wearing perfume, he's always like, He said it was sweet, but very soft. That's how he described it. So I wore this a couple times and I enjoyed it so much and I'm so happy to have it. Okay, so now on to our note of the month for June. Last month I only had one suggestion and that was from my friend Stephanie. Thank you, Stephanie. She suggested amber, but the day that I was going to start looking for my amber samples, that's when the heat wave struck. And I'm like, I can't do amber. It's too hot. Like I can't do it. So I ended up deciding on a lighter, fresher note because, like I said, the heat hit hard all of a sudden. So I decided to do lemon. I thought lemon is a, you know, sort of a bright summery type scent. And I have been wanting to find my perfect lemon vanilla. I do own Trussardi Donna, but I'm also looking for another lemon gourmand or even a bright lemon. I'm really enjoying lemon scents these days. So I got my little bucket of samples. So the very first day I wore Lise Chouchou, and this sort of set the bar pretty high. When I first spray it, I'm getting sort of an orange creamsicle, orange popsicle sort of vibe, but it also reminds me of a pan of lemon squares, just bright and lemony with that little bit of sweetness in the meringue. It's a little bit fluffy. It made me feel really happy. I enjoyed wearing it. I didn't get a ton of performance out of it. I did catch a few whiffs here and there. It ended up being sort of a candy sweet type of citrus, which I really enjoyed. And I would say about 8 hours later, if I smelled it up close on my skin, I was getting more of a tropical feeling citrusy scent, sort of like Alien Goddess, sort of a sweeter, fruitier, tropical type of beachy kind of scent. That was just 8 hours later and it was up close on my skin, but I'm still smelling this in the air from where I just sprayed it. And I'm getting candy sweet, lemon dessert. I really enjoy this one. And I feel like this happens quite a bit, that the one I wear on day one ends up being hard to beat. Shoot, I left it downstairs, but I will insert a picture. I have a tiny little dabber of Devotion and I dabbed that all over myself, every inch of skin. And I was wearing a tank top, so I had a lot of skin out and I just kept, you know, tipping it up and rubbing it on. And I did that for probably 2 or 3 minutes. I just kept putting it everywhere I could find. And as I was doing that and smelling it in the air, I was getting lemon meringue pie. I was getting, you know, lemon squares. But as I wore it, it almost started getting a little sharper. It didn't go into the medicinal direction, but it was verging almost on medicinal. As it wore on my skin, it started getting more sharp and crisp. It reminded me of a lemon scented sheet of sugar that has dried, and like sugar glass, you know what I mean? And you broke it and it shattered, but it was lemon scented. It was sweet and candy-like, but very lemon and very sharp, a sharp type of lemon. Just a hint artificial smelling to me. I did enjoy it, but I could tell it was not going to be the perfect one, and it was not going to be the one to go on my wish list. That night to bed, I wore Aqua de Gioia. And I really, really liked it. My husband came upstairs after I had sprayed it and he said, something smells really fruity in here. It's really pretty. And I really liked this a lot. It is sweet, but I actually compared it to, and I don't think I brought my test strips up with me, but I compared it to Ocean de Gioia as well. And that is much sweeter, a lot sweeter. And this is more fresh. See, I used up my sample. One of the ones I wore to bed one night while I was testing lemon perfumes. I'm not very well prepared. I have my little mini of that. I'll insert a video of that as well. That one I also wore, and that one has lemon, but that one was very sharp and very too fresh, almost too fresh. Now on paper, the next day I smelled it on paper. Really pretty, really a very pretty type of fresh scent, but on my skin it was just too sharp. Citrus cleaner vibes. If you took Dylan Turquoise and Ocean de Gioia and you combine those, you get Aqua de Gioia. So it has that hint of the sweetness like Ocean de Gioia has, and it has that freshness like Dylan Turquoise has. I found Aqua de Gioia to be right down the middle, equal parts fresh and sweet. And I feel like it's a sort of a classic. I don't know, I thought about maybe getting a bottle of this. So what am I on? Day 3, I think it was. I wore Unknown Pleasures by Kerosene. I've always enjoyed this one. I'm almost out of my sample. I've always enjoyed this one, especially when I've compared it to other scents, and it's a really bright lemon, but it has tea and some other notes. And there was something about it when I wore it, the full day wear and the full body wear, that I found a little bit bothersome. And I don't know why. It was just annoying me a little bit. And there was something green and a little medicinal in it. And it was probably the tea. I did find that it was sort of annoying me through the day, and I didn't really enjoy wearing it. So that one was off the list. That's why I love taking this one note and taking an entire week and all my, all my lemon samples, doing them all that week so I can see how I feel each day, comparing those one day after another. I've really been enjoying this, and I hope you guys are liking this little series. Acro Bake was day 4, and I actually thought this was going to be the one. Oh my gosh, it's the brightest, freshest, sweetest, the most concentrated one of all of them, I find. I really like this. But when I was wearing it, I don't feel like it made me as happy as when I was wearing Lise Chou Chou. You know what I may possibly do, and I don't really have enough left in my sample for a full wear of Acro Bake now. I just have a tiny bit left. I have a lot left in Chou Chou. I feel like I maybe compare them side by side. I have enough to spray Acro Bake on my arm and just compare my arms side by side and just see which I really prefer. Last night I sprayed Xerjoff Lyra. I know this does not have lemon officially, but a lot of people do pick up a very lemon type scent in this, and my husband was like, he complimented me for an hour straight. He was like, that's amazing, this smells so good. And it was reminding me of Dead Cool Taunt. I remember when I first tested this in a sample sniff video, it felt like it went too sweet in the dry down. It ended up being a little too gourmand. I was pretty new to perfume then, and my nose wasn't used to smelling something that sweet, but it was really reminding me of Dead Cool Taunt. So I want to compare those side by side, and I still do have a little bit left in the sample. So I'm going to compare this to Dead Cool Taunt sometime. Let me know if you want an update on that. But I actually really enjoyed wearing Lyra, and I can see why it is a beloved fragrance around the world. It is a vanilla, cozy, citrusy scent. I really enjoyed this, and it was a big hit. And last but not least is Theodore Scalatini's Lemon Tart. And I wore this one night before bed. I was scared to spray it because if you saw me review this sample along with a couple other by Theodore Scalatinis, I didn't like any of them. They were very artificial smelling to me, very synthetic smelling, almost plasticky. And so when I sprayed this before bed, I was a little bit nervous. There's almost like an almond extract with the lemon tart in this. It is a very intensely sweet, sharp smell, but it didn't bother me when I wore it. That's the thing with perfume. You're always like learning and growing. And I did finally see when I wore this to bed, I'm like, okay, I can see how someone could enjoy this. And even though I only sprayed one spray, it wasn't overwhelming. And in fact, I didn't even notice it while I was laying in bed and you know, watching perfume videos on my iPad and reading. I didn't even really notice it. So it was definitely not overwhelming, but I'm not instantly drawn to this one. So I was like, this is not going to be at the top of the list. So for Lemon Week, I would say the winner probably was Chou Chou by Lise. This is absolutely so pretty. If you like lemon gourmands, citrus, vanilla type scents, I feel like you should at least try Lise Chou Chou. And I would say in second place is Acqua di Gioia. I know it's an older one and maybe it's even discontinued. No, I shouldn't say I know, but I'm pretty sure Ocean di Gioia is discontinued, but I don't know about Acqua di Gioia. But surprisingly, I feel like I really would like a bottle of this, especially with summer coming up. I'm just going to be in the mood for this type of scent because it's a more fresh type of lemon. And third place was Acro Bake. Still, it impresses me when I spray it. I'm always like, oh my gosh, this is so unbelievably bright and zesty and yet sweet. So Acro Bake is one that someday, maybe I'll own a bottle of it someday, but I feel like at the top of my list right now is Chou Chou and then Acqua di Gioia. But I had so much fun doing Lemon Week, and June was just a great month for fragrances. The ones I have told you about today, like I'm looking at them here spread out on the windowsill, and they excite me. Like I love all of them. I'm looking at Maximalist, I'm looking at Bonbon Pop, Vanilla Vibes, Dream, Near Dusk, Eladaria. Like these are all exciting to me. Like I'm so happy to own all of these. I had a great month of wearing perfumes. What did you guys wear the most in June? I would love to know. How has the weather been for you? I feel like a lot of people have been in the middle of an intense heat wave, and thankfully we only experienced that for 2 days, but I mostly stayed inside. It was just, every time I would open the door, it felt like walking into a steamy oven. It was so hot. And my husband had to work outdoors in the sun. He didn't even get to be in the shade because they were building something, and whatever it was directly in the sun, and he was so baked, I'll say, like so wiped out when he got home from work. He was just exhausted, and a couple of days of that and working outside in the sun in, you know, 100-degree weather, it was intense. As always, you guys, I so appreciate you taking your time to watch this video, clicking on the thumbnail, and if you made it this far, I appreciate it so much. Please give me a like if you liked this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.